speak to corporate. It's management voice that we bring in at 2:10. We have Amit Jain, who's the Chairman, Managing Director, Arcade Developers, joining us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Amit. Been a while since we spoke.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, sir.
Thank you.
So I wanted to start off with this new acquisition of Filmistan. It brings around 3,000 crore odd of GDV, but give us timelines. How quickly do the approvals come in place, and how quickly does development start there?
So we've already started with the approval process, and 2025 by this year end, we are expecting the approvals to be in place. And early next year, we expect to launch the project, 2026. The acquisition is complete and the plans are frozen on drawing board, yeah.
Okay. Where does that take your total GDV to, Amit?
So this is in addition to the Thane acquisition that we did recently last month.
Yes.
So both the deals combined should touch a GDV of 5,000, and along with the other projects, we are looking at a GDV of 10,000 crore in coming times.
Okay. And how quickly do you execute the full 10,000 crore GDV?
We've set a target of 5 years from here to complete this pipeline.
And what's the margin like on this?
On an average, the margins are 20% in our company for the projects that we've done here.
And why Filmistan in particular, Amit?
Because this is amongst the last land parcels that is left in a matured market like Goregaon West, 4 acres of land parcel without any tenant. Majorly the projects that you see in suburbs or in MMR region are of redevelopment category. There is hardly any land parcel available. So this is amongst the last of clean land parcels available in Goregaon West, which is a very mature market. And it allows you to build a much premium product in terms of flexibility of planning. It allows you to build a very upmarket product, which normally is not possible in smaller land parcels, or redevelopment has a constraint of planning as per the earlier members, which is not there in a freehold land parcel.
Amit, how should one look at GDV? Because you've got 10,000 crore of GDV pipeline, 20% odd in terms of your margin guidance. How much of this is JDA versus fresh projects? And how should one look at GDV even in a JDA? Does it include the houses you have to allocate to existing tenants or not?
No, our 10,000 crore is only out of the sale proceeds of our goods. And the distribution is broadly 50-50. We do not have JDAs, but we have redevelopment, society redevelopment projects, which is a pipeline of 5,000 crore. And the land side is another 5,000 crores. So it gives a clear visibility of raw material, for the company for the coming 5 years. Raw material is a very critical thing in real estate. So once you have these lineup of such good projects, it makes certainty of the ongoing year-on-year revenues.
And Amit, how quickly does the cash flow start to come in? Because 5 years is a long time for execution, and that will be your top line over the next 5 years is what I would assume. That ought to be the case. How does the cash flow stagger in is what I want to understand out of this 10,000 crore.
So once we start the project, once you have your approvals in place and once your project is RERA registered, we start the project, and no sooner you start the project, your cash flows start, and the cash flows keep coming in as the progress of the project takes place, on an ongoing basis. And we are not dependent on a single project for this 10,000 crore. It's split fairly balanced across a list. And so the cash flows, very healthy with us.
Okay. So I believe we have you on a patchy line, Amit. While we fix that, it's very impressive guidance. What I want to also understand, in fact, from Amit, as he patches back in, is they've done 2 big projects already this year. So what's the outlook like with regard to project? That stock is perked up 4% in trade. There are 4 project launches in FY26. At least that's the expectation. And just to try and highlight for you, Arcade in general is broadly a low debt company. We've got just about 100 odd crore of debt on the balance sheet at the end of FY25. And they've done around 700 odd crore of sales in FY25. Amit, I was just trying to understand from you. So you've done 2 big ones this year already. How many more in the pipeline and how quickly do they translate?
We are having a couple of redevelopment projects in the pipeline in coming times to come. And it's an ongoing process. Business development is an ongoing process. The BD team keeps on scouting for projects, and the launch team keeps on launching the projects. It's very cyclical. For now, we have a good lineup of projects. We are looking at 4 launches this year, as you just mentioned.
Yes, and what would be the completion time? How many projects get completed this year? And therefore, what's the revenue recognition which will happen likely this year? What are you estimating?
So we look at a 20% growth year-on-year basis. Last year, you just mentioned we did 700 crore of sales. And this year, basis 20% should be around 850 crore.
Okay. And will that continue for over the next 5 years? Is that the glide path?
Yeah. In fact, we are looking at a spike once these bigger ones are launched,
Okay.
It may beat that percent, yeah.
And what about pricing? Is pricing holding up at all? You cater largely to Mumbai for viewer context. Is pricing holding up in Bombay?
Prices are very stable and consistent. Post this repo rate correction, in fact, the home loans have become very attractive, which is further helping the prices to sustain. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the kind of escalation you're seeing in prices going forward? Because some of the launches that you do today, a lot of the sales may actually happen a year or 2 from now. So just trying to understand how, what are you seeing in terms of price escalations? Is there any scope for that at all?
I wouldn't be speculative, but it should be minimum. It should beat the inflation. That is what I consider,
and
if not more. Yeah.
Right, and you have a great understanding of inventory as well, of course, because you have your ear on the ground. So what's the inventory looking like? How much is the pipeline, both you plus competitors plus the market, at least in Bombay? How's the pipeline looking like? And do you see this traction, which is there currently, to sustain? Because that may well impact price. So how are you seeing all of those dynamics?
Our selection of the project, we are very choosy to pick the projects. Our selection is such that they are lesser affected by the abundance in supply. We choose very mature and premium markets. The location is marquee, so it should not be affected by the abundance in supply. And majority of the supply is on paper. By the time you get occupation for the project, the inventory is almost sold most of the times. People have become very aspirational, the per capita consumption of real estate has gone up. People are looking at bigger flats. They are looking at changing the apartments very soon. It's become very aspirational. So all of the supply is being taken care of.
All right. Amit, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's with regard to Arcade. That stock is booked up 4%. I'm going to take a quick call from Kush on that one. But before that,